Hey, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Big ones, so that you couldn't see it. Me either. Chipmunks all of that too. Everything.
At one point, he was thinking about it.
There's
No reason.
This will be.
Okay, I better go on whenever you're ready.
That him?
Hey, Christie. Mhm.
He'll be here. You're late, Christie, you're gonna have to sit up front.
Moose is on his way.
Yeah, he's giving me a tour. It's a long tour. I was like, I think we're supposed to go to the meeting. Like, he's like, I'll just look here at this gas station hole. It was like, nice.
All right, we might as well stand and say the pledge, Monty, while you're up. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There he is. All right. All right, guys, did you get a chance to look over the minutes of the March 17th meeting?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the March 17th meeting.
Second rate to the motion?
Motion by Retha, second by Aaron, all in favor?
Aye.
I wasn't here, I'll
Mhm.
abstain.
Okay.
Claims and allowances.
Motion to approve the claims and allowances.
Second rate to the motion?
Motion by Retha, second by Aaron, all in favor? Aye. Scott, what do you got for us?
Give you guys this, you wanna talk about doing a contract with Review Tech to do some roads this year.
Change name? Change names?
No, it's on the second page. But there's just a certification for you guys in case you have any questions on it, the amount and the actual companies there.
About how many miles are we gonna do?
That'll probably be right roughly between 3.5 and 4 mile.
On just some of our freshly done blacktop roads?
Yeah.
Did pretty good on your road up there, didn't it?
Yeah, looks great. It made a difference. You can tell in the winter time it falls off quicker on than it does on the other parts. So.
Anybody have-
That road was done before I was commissioner, so. Make motion to approve a review check for the amount of $70,768.48.
I'll second that.
That was a motion by Aaron. Second by Retha, all in favor? Aye. Just sign it anywhere on this bill.
Yeah, they're fine.
When do they think they might get started?
That'll be sometime probably midsummer, would be my guess.
Okay,
They're not really gonna give me an exact until I get it signed, and then they'll work us in with other counties, because they cover the whole state, so.
sure.
Cannot wait for Brickyard Road.
Well,
Mhm.
we actually had something I was gonna talk about today too, so. We actually had a community crossings meeting last week with the company that's gonna do the work. They're hoping to be here in the next, I'll just say 2 months to get started. Of course, they'll be in and out, so it'll take a little while to finish it, so. But, it's coming, so,
Make a lot of people happy, so.
yeah. Or as equipment, they are working on our mower, so hope to see it in the next week or two.
John Deere still?
Yeah,
Yeah.
John Deere, yeah. Everything else, that's my knowledge is up running.
Did they get the shaft for it?
Yeah, finally, it was mid to late January when we had the shaft actually came in, so. And we did, I don't want to announce any names right now, but we did possibly hire 2 part-time gentlemen this week, so.
Just for mowing or for general anything?
One will help us with mowing and the other will be general. And,
Good.
one has a class A CDL, so that'll be a big plus, so.
Big time.
Nice.
So,
Thanks for what you guys do, Scott.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Sure.
We got-
Anybody have anything for highway before we let Scott go? Tony, did you wanna?
No, I don't have.
Sure.
Scott, do you ever see anybody with the main highway, like the federal highway people anytime?
not federal. The state was here last week.
Last Monday?
Yeah. Down there by Andy's house, where their bridges across the railroad track, it's getting a real big gap in it between on the far side. As you're going through it headed toward Magody,
Mhm.
there's a big chunk out of where it meets, the blacktop meets the bridge. I don't know if it's gonna keep chunking or not, but it's sizable.
Okay,
Okay,
I can, make a phone call. I don't have any good contacts in there anymore, so.
sure. Yeah, we had a pretty good discussion with the state. Not really, but
Heard you told them your 2 cents.
me and Lonnie Gregory, we didn't
Good.
tell them our 2 cents. Yeah. That and 98 more will almost get you something, so.
Yeah, I appreciate what you guys did, so. Wish I was here.
Well, if nobody else has anything, Scott, we'll let you get on your way.
Have a good night, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
John
your
Hayes.
updates. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate the report. Appreciate the monthly
No,
report.
it's fine.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Jonah Shaw, you got some central dispatch information?
Yeah, I did, go ahead and forward over a letter to you guys, just so it's easier to follow along. I gotta get mine pulled up here real quick. So basic numbers just on the front page is, currently, or the current salary wage ordinance without a benefit package or part-time. If you look down, if the commissioners chose to go for a centralized dispatch, which showed again, without a benefit package or part-time help. The increase of that would be approximately $380,224 to the taxpayer. So again,
Without benefits.
that's without benefits. I mean, you gotta take times 2 probably for benefits, or I did do a rough draft of, I think, $80,000 an employee, give or take, with the $47,528 annual salary. And I think it came out to about $640,000. And that's a guesstimate of benefits. That's why I didn't add it, because I wasn't gonna give you a guesstimate. I mean, there's only one way to get that, and that's to run them through the system, and we don't have access for that system. So again, after complaints that I've heard of the current dispatch situation, one was analog radios not transmitting to the dispatch center, which is a huge problem, especially for these guys that are, and ladies that are on the side of the road. If they need help, they need to be able to talk to somebody. Back in 2021, or possibly 2020, the jail was hit by lightning. And that's when they done a replacement of the dispatch software and replaced the Martin County repeater. During that time, the repeater was supposed to be fully updated, and I do believe there was a new frequency added at that time. Obviously, there's currently still an issue with communications. I believe that the commissioner should encourage the current leadership to get a company in there, fix and or add equipment to the current repeater that we've already paid for once. And make it more effective for broadcasting. In return, I think the commissioners should encourage leadership to move all emergency dispatching through the Martin County repeater, like the fire departments and EMS currently already is, and civil defense. If you run it through the same repeater, these agencies can use their respected channels and frequencies as a talk around channel on scenes. And they ensure a guaranteed contact to the sheriff's office just through the repeater, not counting the 800 capability that's already in place too, but we'll get further down on that. A complaint was the 800 is not working outside the county and sometimes not even inside the county. Well, the issue with an 800 megahertz radio, the county isn't in charge of any of that. That's at a state level. The state's in charge of all maintaining their own equipment and towers. So there's really nothing that the county can do to that unless leadership is failing to get through to the state and need the commissioners to try to strong arm to get the help. The third is 911 dispatching delays to Lagodi Dispatch. Lagodi Dispatch is not set up as a 911 terminal. So if 911 calls come in within the city limits, it goes straight to the sheriff's office, Martin County 911 terminals. The 911 call is dispatched to Lagodi, and then Lagodi's dispatch will take over communications for their fire and their police. Lagodi Dispatch has coverage from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., an 8-hour shift. The county covers dispatch from 4 p.m. to 8 a.m., which would be a 16-hour shift. It is known that Lagodi pays the county approximately $12,000 to cover a 16-hour shift, 365 days a year. To help eliminate dispatch delays, maybe the commissioners need to look at what's best for the citizens' safety and make dispatch priority and the county cover it 24/7 and get rid of the 8-hour shifts. I do know the city is also gonna have to have their administrative assistant, but that has nothing to do with the county level for their report processing and all that. Fourth would be the law enforcement complaints about EMS and fire on the law enforcement 800 frequency. Law enforcement officers have complained about EMS and fire walking on their radio traffic for years. The way to possibly get around this would be utilize the fire 800 frequency, which is already in place thanks to EMA whenever they originally set up the 800 frequencies. Then you can just create that 800 that's already been created. You can use that 800 fire frequency and put fire and EMS on that. And then you give fire and EMS a secondary radio source if the analog system isn't working, which would be the Martin County repeater. And then we eliminate all the issues on that. Fifth is the CAD system. Martin County is probably one of the only counties in the state that doesn't have a CAD system. A CAD system is a real-time software platform used for 911 dispatching to manage, prioritize, and record incident calls. A CAD system can help effectively communicate with law enforcement, fire, and EMS in that real time. The system is capable of talking to and working with other systems like a report management system, which the county also doesn't have. But it also includes IDAX and more. So you can run pretty much your entire dispatch through a CAD system and it'd be more effective than we're playing radio tag right now, or phone tag essentially, if the radios aren't working properly. I think it's time to bring Martin County into the 21st century, and that's probably one of the things to do it. And I'm gonna close with this, because at the end of the day, the talks of dispatch, whether centralized or ran out of our county jail. Our county covers IDAX, NCIC, 911, non-emergency lines. The county dispatch operates with and works with 6 fire departments, being Civil Defense, Shoals, Lagodi, Lost River, Hayesville, and Indian Creek, along with 5 law enforcement agencies, including County, Indiana State Police, Shoals, Lagodi, and Indiana Conservation. Dispatch deserves to be recognized. I know this because I've sat there, and it's not easy at times. They live the worst days of our citizens' lives alongside them through the phone. Hearing them scream, cry, and more, as they are doing everything they can to get the resources they need dispatch out to them. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Joan. There's a lot of
Thank you.
information.
Just, while we're all here. No, Mr. Cummins. Chief Keller. Narrator's back there.
I'm Jared Stuckey, I'm the Assistant Chief of Pagoda.
Nice to meet you, sir. What you guys' take on that? So. I know you're maybe at opposite ends of the spectrum, but, just honest, here we are, so.
Well, I think we've established before that it's gonna take some money to get us to where we need to be. I mean, I think when I talked before, there's no question about that. You know, when it comes down to it, it's still, whether you have a CAD system, whether you have a central dispatch, we still do need to up some of that personnel. And it's not necessarily the sheriff's office fault, it's not necessarily the dispatch, that's kind of just the way it's always been. We've always learned how to function off that, but it's just a matter of time before we find ourselves in a situation where someone's gonna get hurt. Whether it be a first responder, an officer that's dealing with them all the time, our jail staff because they're trying to help our dispatch center, or even someone in the public. So it comes down to it that even like I hear what Jonah's saying as far as even the CAD system, I'm a big supporter of a CAD system, but you still need people there inside of our dispatch center to run that CAD system as well. So I think it's not just a one or the other type of situation. I think if you're gonna implement one, you have to find a way to implement both. Because at the end of the day, it's like you said, there is software that goes with that. You know, we currently use a report writing system that helps us keep track of, like, for law enforcement side, like our FBI statistics or what they call NIBRs. This, you know, there's CAD systems that will work hand in hand with those report writing systems that can actually help with those, that can down the road help with staffing issues. It helps with our reporting to the state and the FBI, so we know what kind of staffing we might need, whether it be for law enforcement, first responders. It'll help keep track of what we do with our vehicles, fire apparatus, EMS personnel. So it's not just, I don't think, like I said, for me, in my years of experience doing this, I've sat behind a dispatch terminal for a short period of time, and I've been in EMS, fire, and as a police officer now for more than 15 years. It's not just, I don't think it can be just one or the other. It has to be both. We've got to figure out a way to do both.
And our dispatchers now, they do an outstanding job, with the equipment that we have. Are there improvements that need to be made? Absolutely. I agree, there are some radio issues from time to time, but that's the same with any technological piece of equipment. I think a CAD system is in everyone's dream that's in law enforcement. And I do agree, we're probably one of the few counties that don't have one. The root of it obviously is going to be money. We know that. There are some updates that need to happen there at the sheriff's office, one of them being our 911 system. That's something that we have to look into. And there may be possibilities where we can do a major upgrade by combining 1, 2, or 3 different systems and potentially get a better price or something like that. So I think there's options there. We just need to, I guess, find out what those options are.
Explore every avenue we have there.
And come back with some real time numbers and.
Just off the cuff, I mean, I'm proponent of, I like the CAD system. Tiffany, you see you're in the dispatch.
I'm dispatch planner.
I do like the idea of the CAD system. It's a starting point, so.
Rough idea, dollar wise on the CAD.
Believe we had a quote, Motorola was like 400,000. There was another option potentially that was bundled with our 911.
I'm not sure what all that until Motorola had different numbers, different things that we were needing. So the one with the 911 refresh or upgrade, it's a lot cheaper, but I'm not sure what all it entailed.
I can't speak for these two. Or anybody here, but there has to be some kind of meeting point, you know, I mean, where. I mean, somebody wants this, somebody wants this. There. Where we can come together and not make everybody happy, but. Try to make everybody happy, but there has to be some kind of meeting ground, so.
And I agree with that as well. We're a small county.
But there has to be
There-
improvements.
Correct.
There has to be.
Correct, I don't disagree with that, but where I'm going with that is, you know, it may be one of those where we all, not just the dispatch side of it, but the CAD system, the RMS. You know, if we get all the agencies involved, which would be the county, Shoals and Lagodi, and everybody puts money towards that and does that upgrade together, that could be a potential savings too. So, I mean, there's avenues that need to be explored, and I think we all just need to get together.
And I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. Paul, you can answer this, Rita possibly. What about our trustees? I mean, can we not throw something together where they throw a little bit of money and we get something decent? I mean, where it takes the burden off the city of Lagodi, town of Shoals, Martin County Sheriff's Office. It lessens the burden. I'm baffled and amazed that that's not possible.
Well, we can't force them.
No,
To
you
give us
can't
money.
force them, but I mean, morally, I mean, good
I
God,
mean, it is.
Jesus Christ, I mean.
They were aware of it.
You know, Tiffany, we've tried to get them all in here. Paul can attest for this, Rita can attest for this, Michelle can attest for this. We've tried to all get them in here and say, hey, let's all sit down and talk. Crickets. Nobody wants to talk, so.
Aaron, I want to touch on this real quick. I know Jonah said something about upgrading the repeaters and stuff like that here. The issue with over at Lagodi with the fire department is when we go north to service Crane, because that is part of our protection. The town of Crane, when we go that far north, we can't communicate back because there's no.
There's a dead zone in there.
So time you go up there and you put a tower, you put another repeater there, I mean, you're gonna be throwing a lot of money out there to do something like that. If you're gonna spend some money, you might as well spend it and put it into something good with the CAD system and the central dispatch of some sort. You know, spend that money wisely that way. And I was gonna touch upon, but you brought it up about the trustees. You know, the trustees can use that money at their discretion, but I did point that out at the Lincoln Day dinner the other day. You know, we have 3 trustees. Basically last, and I'm not 100% sure, but was sitting on over $1 million between 3 of them. And, Michelle, you could probably tell me better if that's, I don't know if you know what they have in that or not with the trustees accounts, but, you know, that's where I said that, you know, we can get Westgate, Counter Crane, everybody to pitch in, plus look for some outsourcing money. Have the trustees, you know, at least to commit that they would do so much every year. It can be doable, but it's gotta all be worked out. I think it can really happen, but you can't force the trustees to spend money if they don't wanna spend it. But at the end of the day, what's a life worth? What's public safety worth?
Well, it's election
You know,
time.
we're living in the dark ages here and we need to get out of that.
The only thing I will say is, I know some people want a central dispatch at the EMS building, Martin County. I think that's out of the question. I don't think there's any room there at all.
It's actually set up for that as far as the capability to handle it there. You have to get equipment and stuff in there, but that was one of, from my understanding, that was one of, when that was built, that could eventually be turned into a central dispatch.
I mean, since we put the ambulance quarters in there, and no offense,
There's an office space.
Narrator,
Yes.
I just don't. I don't see it personally, but I mean, it's, all options are on the table, so.
And if you'd like, I'd be more than willing to take you down. I've got, some friends that work in other central dispatch areas, and you can see just even 2 terminals. Which you have 2 operators that can operate that at 24/7 or whatever we use for our discretion at the time. It doesn't take up much room to put 2 terminals in. Now, obviously, you know, you ask about cost up front. You know, yes, anything, and I think anybody in this room that does any kind of emergency services or pays the bills for these type of things, they can tell you that the most expensive thing that's gonna cost everyone is gonna be radios and upfitting radios very beginning. That's gonna be your most expensive. And then obviously there's licensing fees that you have to take care of yearly. There's some things with dispatch that they have to pay. Even now, they have to currently pay monthly. So they have, I mean, there's yearly fees, there's monthly fees. So there's gonna be fees regardless. But I don't know, and Keith, I don't know if you know, I don't even know what the upbidding, even if we left it at the sheriff's office, if that's what is deemed to be necessary or appropriate, even what the upbidding would be there by the time we got everything, quoted and, got equipment personnel in there.
I think that we need to have a meeting between the sheriff's department, city of Lagodi, town of Shoals, and these dispatchers and the companies that provide us this,
Mhm.
and just see what they would think would be the best solution.
Yeah, we
can all just sit around and,
we were talking about getting all that done, but we're trying to get some numbers and stuff together, then get everybody together to be able to do something like that.
I'd like for the providers with the equipment to actually come in and say, hey, this will work or it won't. I mean.
Or even, like Paul said, get everybody together and say, hey, let's try this option, let's try this option, let's try this option, and here's our options.
Tony?
I'd like to say, I gave you, and everybody has valid points. Well, the one thing, and you brought up something, and you almost went all the way with it, but to have a collaborative effort, first of all, this is all fine and dandy, because everybody has an opinion, and you know what that's like. So, it's not happened in Martin County in ages, but put all with Andy, you put all the fire chiefs, okay, the police chief, the sheriff, the key people, put them together. What do we need? All right, because needing and wanting are two different things. Okay, you put that together, then you can go after a business plan to get the manufacturers, the Motorola's, the shish kebab Toyotas to come in here and quote you some information. But until you get everybody together, and I've not seen any collaborative effort. Even we've had discussions, well, I'm gonna stay away from that, but signage, gates, et cetera, that we need to address. And yes, there is money out there. It's gotta figure it out, but not everybody's working together.
But we need to all sit down, like Paul said, and throw the political bullshit out the window. I don't give a shit if you're a Democrat or a Republican. Come to the table, figure out some sort of best solution and move forward. It's gonna cost money. I think everybody knows that.
So part of that too, I think the thing that, I mentioned last month when we were here, or the last meeting when we were here, is I think part of doing that effectively, and whether it be effectively physically or fiscally, however you want to look at it, is instead of having it under, and it's nothing against the sheriff or the sheriff's department at all, or, EMA, but to put it under a 911 advisory board. So you can still have in this sense, you can still have a dispatch commander or a director of communications, but currently, I came from Du Bois County, and that's where I worked most recently. They've got a 911 advisory board that oversees. They still have a dispatch coordinator. They have an assistant dispatch coordinator, but they then report to a 911 advisory board that consists of 11 members. And if you guys would like to see, I've got it on my phone. I didn't print out a copy of that. If that has been something that if you'd like to, you can see what they currently use, and it's worked very effectively for them. And I think that way it's not just one person saying, this is what we're gonna do, this is how we're gonna do it. It's a collaborative effort, like he said, that we can actually all come together and decide what's best as a whole for not only dispatch or CAD system, whatever is decided, but the county as a whole when it comes to communications and emergencies.
And recently I've been invited to the courthouse security, and I'm not going too much into that, but the politics are out of the question. It's about business. And I think that we got more done in that meeting, the last one I was at, than we've gotten accomplished. And I mean, just everybody threw it out on the table. Don't care what you are, Republican, Democrat, it don't matter. It's just threw it out there. Everybody threw out their opinion, and here's our ideas, and I think it's working. So.
Aaron, well, I will say this, that's one thing that we were looking at is, in respect to what the gentleman back here said, is that we are currently getting prices and stuff like that and trying to deal with stuff. The other part of that is we're looking for pros and cons. We're not just saying this, we want the pros and cons. And we need to have the sheriff's department involved in on that. You know, everybody's gotta come together, and it goes back to what you're saying here just a second ago about the politics, but the other part of that is everybody needs to drop their egos.
Yep.
You can't, and that separation of Lagodi and Shoals, we can't continue to keep having. I mean, I don't know why it's like that. But, you know, I know our fire department's helped out on different things over here and even in a few other places and stuff, but. You know, we've gotta get the continuity, we're a small county, everybody's related to everybody. Unfortunately, I'm not that way because I'm from the north, but, I still have a lot of southern relatives, you know, family members here, but. I'm
I
just
know
not
there
like-
was something about you, man.
But, you know, this is my home and stuff, I'm very proud of it, but, you know, we've gotta get continuity between everybody working together for the same goal, and I don't think we ever get, you know, until we get there, we're not gonna get there. And even if it's not held at the, civil defense building, and it's in the jail, the one thing about it is, I know, like right now, they're doing the best they can do with what they have. But I know that there's been calls in and a jailer answers, and they don't know the answer, they get put on hold. Well, someone out there needs something, you don't have time to be put on hold. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but they don't know, so, you know, we've gotta get something corrected, because it goes back to what the chief said a minute ago, you know, at some point, someone's gonna get hurt. We don't know what that, to the extent of that may be, but we need to be more proactive instead of reactive.
And I understand it, because it's not the money coming out of my pocketbook, right? I can sit here and give you all these reasons and all these examples, but I've always prided myself in being a proactive kind of person. I would rather be proactive and prepare for anything and everything than wait until something or the worst happens and then have to be reactive to it. Because then if we're waiting to be reactive to it, then, I mean, we're gonna be paying for it for years and years and years to come.
I would rather spend money on something like this. I mean, we spent money on other things in the past, maybe that,
Like a bank building.
There's no sense in that.
Well, I'm just saying, you know. No, I'm just saying, you know, we gotta look at where the money is till we do it.
You're right, man. But saying stuff like that does not.
Always, I'm sorry, okay, I just, you know, just,
I don't regret the bank building. I was the deciding vote in that. I'll be the first one to say that. And, you know,
We'll move on.
if my neighbor's house comes up for sale, I'd rather, if I was able to, I'd rather buy it and than have some slumdog millionaire move in there and.
So, should we try to set something up between all the departments?
I think we need to have a meeting.
you need to, I don't know where we're at as
If
far as.
possible, I would like to be able to present, I mean, I can get your emails and send them to you, that way I can present at least what we have as far as my options for a 911 advisory board. And it's just basically a representative from each area, EMA, sheriff's office, police department, mayor could be involved. There's a commissioner, councilman from both the county and Lagodi, and then obviously Shoals can be on that too. And obviously, this is just what they do as kind of an earmark and an example. We can add and take away what we think is necessary, but I think that way we can have a representative from,
Also the town of Crane,
yes. So,
and possibly even someone from Westgate, because they're, with the way they're growing there, I know there's security issues and stuff.
yes, well, I've got a meeting up there at Crane next week, so, I would be more than glad if you're okay with it to start making some phone calls and try to set up that meeting and, if I can get your guys' emails, that way I can contact you, like I said, get you this literature.
You got my number.
And yeah, I've got your number, like I said, I'll shoot you a message and get your emails and we can go from there, if you're good with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Do we need to involve the fire right off the bat, or?
I think we need to, because like I said, it's not just like we're dealing with one fire department.
No, we wanna try to knock it all out.
Yes, I agree. I think.
I think every working entity in the county should have a seat at the table.
Even Jeremy with EMS.
Civil defense.
Yes, I think
Monty,
that everybody
everybody.
needs to be here to give their 2 cents and like I said, it's. You check your pride at the door and we come in here to collaborate to get the best possible option for our area and for our county.
We're doing good to ask someone from the state police.
I can get a hold of
DNR.
I can get a hold of guys with DNR and
I know a guy that's getting ready to retire state police. He's wanting to get involved big time. He's a local. Keith knows who it is.
Absolutely.
So,
I think he'd be a wealth of knowledge, so.
yeah, I look forward to getting hold of you guys and moving forward with this.
Anything else on that before we move on?
Not unless you have any questions for us.
No, sir.
I did have one question. I know Du Bois has got quite a bit more money than we have, but
They do.
where's their dispatch located? There's,
So their dispatch was located out, the west side of Jasper, behind,
individual, a separate building?
so it was it was a part of, their health department. They had a separate
Is
building
it
there.
right beside the
So
jail?
now they just remodeled the jail, so they actually refab two old jail cells, or like pods. And they've got everybody in there, and they do have a bigger area in there. They've got typically 3 dispatchers on at one time, minimum of 2, obviously, so they can keep up with that emergency dispatch quota. Then they're set up for 4 stations with the capability of eventually moving on to 6 if they would ever need to take over for other agencies too. The current dispatch coordinator down there, he actually is a retired deputy sheriff. I worked with him for quite a while. And he's even said that we're more than willing to come down and tour his facility. And he's willing to come and talk to whoever we would like to as well. So he's a wealth of knowledge. Like I said, he comes from 20+ years of being a first responder and a law enforcement officer, as well as now working in dispatch. So
in proximity, would that be about central for the county? I know Du Bois is pretty.
yeah, there's nothing square. There's no grid system in Du Bois County for sure, but yeah, that would be the centralmost place for them. Yes, is Jasper.
I'm just glad you guys can get along, so.
Set for JPD.
Yes, they handle everything except for Jasper's police dispatch and Jasper fire dispatch. They take care of all EMS now. In the event that something happens at Du Bois County, then Jasper dispatch can dispatch EMS. But even if Jasper gets a 911 call, they will immediately transfer it to county, and county will dispatch all EMS. So, I mean, even they are working, I think, slowly towards even.
It just sounds odd that the county and the city aren't on the same page, and I guess that's what we're trying to get at,
Yes.
but.
I worked in Davies County for years, and for a long time, we were separated. We had 2 operators on, county had 2 to 3. And they just recently took over and made themselves central when they redid one of their courthouse annex, or built their courthouse annex. So I think it's imperative, like I said, counties around us are doing the same thing, and because they see the benefit in it, I see a tremendous benefit for Martin County.
Yeah, I think you guys need to be on the same page.
So, and like I said, you got my number, I've got yours, but even if you want to, we can all jump in the car together, and I'll be more than happy to take you down there. Link you up with the dispatch supervisor down there, Stuart Wilson. I mean, great guy. I talked to him even before we came to this meeting tonight, so he's more than willing to show us around, give us any advice he has, and speak to whoever we would like him to, or if you guys have any questions.
What do you think?
I just think it's important to know that we are officially the only county in Indiana that does not have a CAD system. So it's like being a construction worker without a hammer most of the time. And then also just being able to put our shoes on, come into our dispatch and see what we're dealing with. Not that it's all negative at all, but that just perfect example is we cannot communicate to the EMS building on our repeater. The radio traffic's really broken there. Something about their signal there is really messed up, so I'm not sure.
Not to
That's
be,
the same for other places, like whenever they're out on the road. If they're not hearing the same traffic that we are, I don't know, but.
Tiffany, not to be a complete idiot, I kinda am, but. So the CAD system, so if you pull up behind me and you're in your police officer vehicle, it automatically reads my license plate, pulls up my ID, is that what
That would be an add-on, like a package add-on.
be a
So that, I
good
mean,
one.
that's not a necessity and it does not, I mean, it could be, obviously. There's even ways to have a CAD system just in our dispatch. And I think that's what that lower price was for, was just kind of like in our dispatch center.
Just personally, if there's any physical way possible, I mean, I would like for our guys to be able, whether our guys be Lagodi County, whoever, you pull up, you know who you're dealing with before you get out of the vehicle. Just
Yeah.
Personal.
absolutely.
personal opinion, so.
And there's a lot of, like privacy information that gets shared on the radio that shouldn't necessarily be shared. We should be able to directly give that information in a different way, which other counties use.
But if I was a police officer, I'd be damned if I wanna pull up beside somebody with tinted windows with Indianapolis license plates and
Well,
it's midnight and I don't know who I'm walking up on. I mean, I'd kinda like to know, I mean.
and it's not to take away from her, like it, so is it the LPR with the license plate readers? Do we have those in the cars? No, because they are extremely expensive. But with the CAD system, if you put the, like, she mentioned having them just at dispatch, if you put those in squad cars where obviously we already have internet in our vehicles, we have laptops, things like that. You go ahead and you get that CAD system, you have the ability to run license plate inquiries, driver's license inquiries. So like specifically, the system that I used when I was a deputy in Du Bois County, I could pull up behind that vehicle, I could run the plate, it would pop up the plate as well as every registered owner and their picture. And then if there were any, safety concerns that were placed by previous law enforcement that to notify us of safety concerns, if they've got a firearm, if they've got a firearm license. Now with the Second Amendment carry, we don't always know that nowadays, but any, hazards that we may encounter, if they've been placed by other or by entered in the system by other law enforcement, we can see that before I ever walk up on a vehicle.
A huge safety concern, not having
Yes.
that.
And with that, like you put that in the cars, if it's a huge data sharing between agencies too, like if you put us all on the same page, there's. I mean, if they are busy, I don't have to get on the radio and say, hey, can you do this for me? I have the access to do that and access that information in my car. I can input information in my car and say, hey, I put this in the system and it's sent their way. But it's, so it, like I said, it is a benefit both ways. Because even if we do have two dispatchers sitting there, whether to meet that, earmark of this central dispatch system, that there are times where things are busy enough where if I need to get on the radio, I may not be able to right away. But I can still get on my computer and still access information. So like I said, that's why I mentioned, I think it goes hand in hand. And I think it's a benefit to look at all of our options to get the safest option for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'd say we need to get together, put up a meeting.
I was gonna say, it's a very good logging system too. So, like if we've been to an address or business multiple times, it will let us know what we were there for, who we dealt with. When we go back, we already know, like Kay said with the officer remarks. It's another safety issue.
Can we share how we're currently doing that?
Yes, of course, please.
Okay, so currently, if there is an incident at somebody's residence with a concerning, safety concern, we will post it on a Post-it note and stick it next to our computer. And there's a stack of those notes. And so you're in the middle of a intense safety issue concerning call. Your officers radioing you, you're getting medics and first responders en route to it. And you're having to look through those notes. Before they get on scene, you're having to look through those notes to see if there's an issue. A CAD system will automatically pull that up as soon as we type in the address.
As long as it's being utilized. So, and these companies will come in and they will do training. So that way dispatchers know what they're supposed to enter in, how they're supposed to enter in, the best way to enter that for everybody to get the most out of it. They'll have trainings with the officers and the deputies. That way they know what to put in, what to put in. I can put safety concerns in, you know, if we had a CAD system. I can put a safety concern in and earmark it to just my guys. I could earmark it for the entire county. So it is a huge data sharing system and it's,
The other thing is we can all see it. So all the officers with computers in their cars, we can all see the same thing. Dispatch, they don't have to tell us. We can already see it.
Christie, what do you guys have in Owen County?
they could, yes, yes.
John?
Tiffany, is there, whenever 911 goes off, does it still ping the Think Map, like the location? So in Think Map, does it still not have the option to put in remarks? Whenever you click on an address, it'll pull up full remarks, if there's any like officer safety concern or anything on there?
So our approach system,
Not
Or the
approach,
Think
Think
Map.
Map, it'd be through WTA,
yes,
I think.
yes, so there is still that option to enter in notes.
Wouldn't that be more effective than sticky notes though? Cause I believe they would sync up every day. Keith would have been the one to know that he updated it.
Yeah, I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I've discussed that
I'm not
before.
being rude,
No,
I'm
I
just
get it.
thinking out loud.
It's definitely an option to help currently.
Right.
Like we've been putting in, whenever we get alarm calls, we've been putting the key holder contact in there, utilizing it for that. It's also just getting everybody on the same page of
Right.
new ways of doing
I
it.
just want to know if it was still available
Yeah.
for that.
I think the big.
And that's what the CAD would do, was get sync databases like that, you collect it, you have it automatically
Yeah.
without them having to work it.
All right. Well, anybody else, or we're gonna move on to the next one?
Do have just a real few quick comments, I don't want to drag it out.
Yeah.
But, one of the issues we have with the communications out of the EMS building, the metal sided building. So that's why we have, if they step outside, we've got great communications, if you're inside, a little bit problematic. We did buy another radio for the 800 megahertz system last year that we put in the jail, so I think you're on 3 truck groups now. So state police, patrol officers and EMS. Sort of. Apparently there's a caveat to that, so I'll talk to her later. But, so we're making little steps and I certainly hope that we can get everyone together to work on it. The other thing that I would like to see as a feature of the CAD system is, I know the ambulance has a text system, with active alert. All the fire departments have their own kind of a kludge system where it literally listens to the radio for the tones and then sends a text to the fire members when it hears the tones come across the radio. It would be nice for that to be done directly from the dispatch center instead of having that weak link of a radio link in between. So, I am fully supportive of a CAD system if we can make it work. Cause there are little costs along the way that it would help eliminate.
Mhm. I think we have to work for a CAD system.
Cause I'm spending $1,200 a year.
We're
on that,
behind the
so-
times, I mean,
Which is not much compared to a full CAD system, but it's something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, another thing to point out is, so like somebody was talking about earlier, a CAD system also works as a record management system that I'm understanding.
Yes.
And so a reporting system for crime reporting. So there was a great grant available. We were doing some digging on it last week, come to find out. It runs with crime reporting and we're not eligible because we're not meeting that criteria as far as for the crime reporting in NIBRS. So just a little bit of those things that would help us eventually get more funding possibly.
We just have to do better.
You gotta start somewhere. So,
Let's have a meetings. Retha, Paul.
Yep. All righty,
I'll be in touch, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you all for the
Thank you,
information.
guys.
And
Thank
Jonah
you.
for the report. Thank you.
Well, choose.
All right, we already went through the highway. Chief, you wanna give us an update?
I really don't have much. I can tell you, we have 31
Oh,
inmates currently.
31.
Had a couple new arrests, so
Sheriff gonna come give us an updating time this year?
I don't have an answer to that, Miss.
Understand, sir.
Andy, what do you got?
Not very much. Mentioned a couple weeks ago that the weather service will be down here for the severe weather training. And it is now within 2 weeks, so this will be the last time I mention it, but on April 13th at 6 p.m.
I think we're gonna move it up to the community building, cause I'm getting a lot of interest in it, so. It'll either be at the CD building or community building,
Is that the weather spotting, the storm?
yeah, the weather spotting, yeah.
I've always been intrigued on that. I like
Yeah.
storms. I don't know why, but
I think we're the last one in the state of Indiana, so if you don't make it, then you'll have to do an online class.
Oh, I just got a text from the sheriff saying he was up to 31.
keep just sit there.
Yeah. I was just letting you know we did.
No.
All right.
That's quite fun.
It is flip phone.
He's the last one in the state of Indiana, Christian. And he's got a backup. If that one breaks, he's got another one, so he's good. Damnest thing I've ever seen.
Guys ain't gonna track me.
My daughter's never heard of flip phones.
All righty. Tony, did you have anything, sir?
No.
Okay. All right. We got a 2025 ambulance services year-end report.
Talked to Amy on structure today. Things are going well, so.
It's great. He said he would have us, first quarter report, I believe, send that email they sent to us by into the next month, yeah.
Let's do a good job, so.
We had 1,361 total runs for 25. We'll have this on hand, Mary, if you wanna look at it after a while, or anybody, not just Mary, but I can't read all those numbers, I mean, it's. All right. Nothing from Dave on my bridge, still gonna mention it. Michelle,
Only thing I have is for my office copier. You guys approved it, yeah, a couple months ago. Council approved it around that time too. But I failed to give it to my accounts payable team, so it didn't get in your claims docket. They'd probably like to get paid since it's been a couple months. So that claims $7,367, so
Make a motion to approve Michelle's
here's your business machines,
Hoosier Business Machines, $7,367
$367.
for a copier.
Second.
Aaron with the motion, Retha with the second, all in favor? Aye.
And that's coming out of the auditors and eligible deduction fund.
Sign it with the rest of them.
Yeah, I think
All right.
it's. Did you say it has its own docket though, Missy? You
Yeah.
think?
But it should be on that front page.
Oh. Okay.
Good.
Yeah, it is on there. Taxes, got the file together today, should have hopefully been sent to the printer today. So property taxes will be going out next 2 weeks.
Any word on the wheel tax fund?
Yeah, since the last meeting, I reached out to the state and BMV and I really couldn't get an answer from them. It ended up coming from, Darren Bates at Data Pit Stop, who we use for our, excise taxes. He does all the tax configurations on, his website. He's amazing, but, he had called about something else, so I just mentioned that, I wasn't seeing that money, and then he tells me that it's combined in with the license plate money. So the treasurer handles the money, so I wasn't seeing the money part because regular license plates, we only have to distribute in June and December with settlement. So we hadn't worked on that since December before we were getting the wheel tax. So we have been getting the wheel tax money. Now just, I had to work with Data Pit Stop. He had to set up configuration so his software would spit out the distributions, and because it's all coming in together. the license plate money and the wheel
Yeah,
tax.
separate, it's hard to separate it.
Yeah. So he had to reconfigure his system to be able to tell us how much is wheel tax money and how much is plate money. So
But
we
then
just
he'll
got
be
that.
able to go back to January 1.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So we just got that done late last week, so we're hoping to get a distribution together this week to be able to send to City Lagodi and Crane and Shoals. So, and I'm still working with David to get our fund set up for the county, but you know, we can hold that money until we get that set up. But yeah, I'd like to get the other units their money, so.
Sure.
So that's the long gist of it is, but it was confusing because we were still, you know, like I said before, getting small payments from the comptroller state that said wheel tax on it. But they explained to me that, there were commercial vehicles, I believe over 5, if they own over 5 vehicles, but it could be more than that. They have to pay, their plates a different way. They don't go in the BMV. They have to pay it through a different system. So that's what those outlier payments were, is for people who pay differently. So that's why we never really got explanation on how it would be coming in, so. We're getting there.
I'm glad you looked into it.
How you doing, Shel?
We were wondering, we thought it was going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was for sure it was going
I
to
mean-
another county, but since the treasurer,
Told me they paid.
yeah, we'd heard several people say they've been paying, but, you know, the treasurer sees the money side and then we see the plate side during settlement, so that's why we hadn't like connected the two yet. So,
So we've got David on that.
yeah, I just talked to him about it yesterday about
Okay.
getting our part set up, but so we can get it to the highway can be able to spend it.
Absolutely. What else you got, Michelle?
I believe that's all I have right now.
Anybody else have anything? Christie? Got anything?
I sent you guys some grant options for your CAD system. Ours is 40,000 a year.
Thank you.
I seen that. I didn't get a chance to look at it. But thank you, Christie. I appreciate everything you do. So thank you for your visit today.
I don't believe you were here when you was here last time you was officially running yet, so, you wanna state your name, what you're running for?
I'm Christy Risk and I'm running for the state senate seat for District 39, Bachelor's retiring.
Wish you all the well.
Good luck. All right. Retha, what do you got?
Anything?
Aaron?
Heard some complaints on some roads. We hear you. They're on Scott's radar. Hang in there, so. Can't
Well,
wait for Brickyard Road.
Talk
to-
about that a little bit. Cause we were talking about the gas, the diesel, your registrations all goes into a bucket and then it's broke out at like 63% to NDOT and the 37% goes to the county. So we need to lobby to change that.
Yes, she mentioned that earlier. I did not
Absolutely.
realize that, so.
Yeah.
They get enough of it the way it is
Yeah,
with
NDOT's getting a
Crane
lot
and
of
God
money.
bless Crane, but Crane and the state forest, we get hammered enough. I mean, we need every dollar we can take, so.
And also it was mentioned that we can look into seeing if, when the last time they had updated their money, their portion of money they're supposed to be sending the county,
Right,
yeah, off of timber sales.
right.
So the text message was about the CAD grants possibly,
Those are grants. Very
so
small.
that's you guys right there, so.
So we need to look into that also about make sure we're on the right percentage.
Yeah, I need to get back with Mark Messmer because he was gonna see about getting that raise.
Yeah,
Mhm. So the interesting thing is that people that own a lot of forestry who are elected officials will sometimes create bills so that state forestry money or state forestry can't be sold. Cause then it drives up the lumber price, so they can sell on private property.
and they also like to put it in classified for us too, to where
No tax money, is it?
Yeah.
very little. like,
Yeah, $17 an acre.
yeah. So not only have Hoosier National and State Forest and Crane, I mean, there's
Some big hitters up
good,
there.
good chunk of classified too. So. Thank you. Monty?
For one suggestion, I don't know who all was here, but, I think you was probably still a deputy at that time. We had a big meeting over to jail and they even had food and stuff there and there was going over stuff, how they was gonna fix the tires, do this and do that, so it's supposed to be fix everything. And I never did see really any major improvement from that. I think Lost River may have gained a little bit, cause I think they was moving some stuff to try to get better, receivers, in Lost River, but I would suggest that you guys, do your homework because the people that come in that tell you what they've got to sell, they're in the business to sell. They're gonna tell you anything. And, make sure that you know, what they're telling you is accurate as far as, and not something that, yeah, it'll do that, but you gotta do this and this and this and this.
Mhm.
And, because like, from what I've been hearing, there's a lot of interdependency on these systems that you have to have certain options to make other things work. So I would just suggest that you do your homework on a lot of, stuff. There's gonna be, I'm not sure exactly the date of it, it's, either March or April, FDIC at Indianapolis. Anybody who's anything is up there worldwide. And, it might be good for you to send somebody up there to look at communications, see what benefits they have to offer, what different systems they have. There's tons of, people up there that's, selling products, so, it might be a good option for you just to run through there on a Friday or something. Saturday's only a half a day, so it's, most people are interested in getting out of there instead of staying till the last minute, so it's better off to go on a Friday, but there's just virtually anything and everything from ambulances to fire trucks to radio communications to virtually anything having to do with emergency personnel they've got up there, and it might do good for you to walk through there. It'll take you a day to do it, so you'll need to get up there early. But to find out, you know, what some of the other pitfalls are out there that some of the other counties may be running into now that they've got some of their holes fixed. So, you know, there's a problem with everything. Nothing's perfect. But it might be good to find it, you know, if a system's got faults, find it out before you buy it. So that,
That's the one that has all the fire and stuff at it, right?
yeah,
It's April 20th to 25th. It is something to see if you've never been. It is phenomenal. Like last year, they have training and workshops and all kinds of stuff.
At the convention center, and
Yeah.
football stadium,
Yeah.
fill up the football ball with fire trucks.
and then there's a lot of stuff at the convention center there too that. But, yeah, it's anybody who has anything, to sell. Usually there. I forget the amount of people, but it's in the hundreds of different, people who are there selling things.
All righty, thank you, Monty.
Monty?
Mary? Update on the,
On the library, well, I think they had their last big punch list, I think, last Thursday. And supposedly, some of the people were gonna start working hard on that punch list and haven't seen much in the last 5 days.
Looks good over there. I've been over there a couple times.
It looks, it looks good, they're starting to move dirt, starting to move the dirt back and all that, so,
have you moved any books over there yet, or are you still?
oh no, so, oh, it has to be cleaned up. It'll have to be cleaned up, major cleaned up.
Hmm.
So not yet.
All right.
I do have something else, as mentioned of books. I was contacted by the Historical Society last week. Still, they have books upstairs that they'd like, of ours, that they'd like to see relocated somewhere else. So they'd asked again if. we could
Chief,
bring
you
to
got any
us.
inmates that good strong back?
Where we gonna put them? The recycle building?
Or we'll put them in the basement
Yeah, I
over
did
here?
talk to the prosecutor and she's got room down there, but
It's
she's
dry.
also still got files she needs down there.
It's dry down there though.
Oh,
That's,
yeah.
that's a big room down. I've been down there. That's a big area. I mean, it's useless for anything.
I don't know how many boxes we've got over there. Did Bill say?
Oh, gosh. Missy and Diana and I went over there about 2 weeks ago to try to catalog what was up there. They're big, heavy books. They're big. What would you say, like 100? I don't even know, 200 tons of these heavy books.
Are they just stacked on top of one another, or?
Yeah,
So
in no
we don't
order.
have to do any shelving or anything, we just.
They're on shelves right now. They're stacked on shelves. But then getting them down those stairs. The stairs are steep. There's
They are.
one side they have blocked off right now because their ceiling falling.
Make a chute,
That's kind of what,
and somebody
Line.
at the bottom, and they can just,
shoot down the window.
yep.
If you're looking for some, I mean, community corrections may have people in community service hours that they need to complete as well. That's a good viable option as well.
We have insurance now.
Yeah, yeah. All right,
Maybe, I know Mary mentioned
let
a
me,
few weeks ago, they got a quote for movers. I don't know how desperate we are.
well, let's check with community corrections and the sheriff's department first, see if we come up with anything.
Yeah,
Mary,
Fire, 911 Ministries might be someone that you could, check with, because I had them personally come to my house to move something really heavy. They came, were polite with their supervisor, did their job in 10 minutes. And
They've helped out with Summerfest setting up, well, out there setting up with trash removal and different things like that, so they.
Give them the prop, the community service mayor, since you're on that one, or not community service, but community corrections. Every Saturday I'm off. I see them with the full pickup load of trash. I mean, it's
Sunday, I believe.
Sunday, Saturday, big deal. So appreciate those guys and the people picking it up, so. Mary,
behind the wire ministries, I mean, if anyone is concerned about them, they have to reach a certain level in their program before they're able to work with the community. And they also always have a supervisor with them. So that might be somebody that the county could utilize to. do
absolutely.
some of that work.
Good idea, Mary. Thank you.
and something else, though, we still have quite a bit of furniture over in the former recycle center. You guys thought about?
Anybody
Loading of-
need any furniture? Any other offices need any furniture, desks?
What kind of furniture is it?
Mostly desks and few chairs.
Few chairs.
Pretty nice desks, some of them are. I mean, we're gonna keep a few for the offices we're putting in over there, right?
Yeah, but
I mean,
a couple out of,
any ETA on this go time?
no, I haven't heard from Dave if
Somebody,
any movement. But I mean, just have to start thinking about what,
need any desks, Mayor, or?
I was seeing, what type of furniture was, because I know we're looking for some different stuff in senior
have them
city.
show,
um,
take you over there and show you.
Yeah, we can go over after the meeting, see what's over there.
Yeah, we'd like to do something with, you know, municipalities first if we can. We know it's not gonna be, well, we can't really have an auction just for,
I mean, it's
I
not,
think for the municipalities, a lot of things that we could do on everything, but, you know, I don't know if they work with senior citizens over there, they're supposed to go out.
come over and take a look at it. I don't have a problem with that, do you?
No, no, sir.
And if nobody else is wanting any of it here eventually in the county, we're just gonna, you know, probably offer it up to the schools if they want anything for like, I know they was interested in some stuff for the plays at one time, so I mean,
mhm.
we'll just offer it to everybody and then
First come, first.
whatever they got left, we'll recycle it.
Sounds good.
At Moose's house,
Don't have any room, so.
Mhm.
Mary,
The last time, there were two proposals for the renovation of the building over there. Proposals. And, you just mentioned a little while ago about being, ready to pull the trigger on it. I mean, have you decided? Publicly, there's been no discussion about,
I made a motion, last meeting to, go ahead with streets contracting. For the amount of, I don't wanna say the amount, 'cause I don't.
we've not had any discussion with them since the last meeting. David said he was gonna have somebody get in contact with us, but I've not heard a thing from anybody yet, so.
thank you.
Anybody else? Missy? Mayor? All right, nobody else has anything. I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Aaron, second by Retha. Our next meeting will be in here, Tuesday, April 14th at 5:30. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.